Learning Medic is a journey. As a character whose skill ceiling is defined by game sense, the journey of learning Medic is one where you make mistakes and slowly learn from them as you improve your fundamental understanding of the game, as opposed to more mechanically driven classes where the journey of learning them is defined by the honing of a particular set of mechanical skills. Medic is a difficult class for beginners. Even if you're coming from other games that have support classes, there's a lot to learn if you want to adequately play this game's dedicated healer. Thankfully, Valve recognized this and created a high-quality, in-depth tutorial on how to play him. Okay, so Valve's tutorial is laughably incompetent, but thankfully there's still another system that people often overlook: TF2's achievement system. There are plenty of achievements that reward you for correctly playing the class, while others are a bit strange. What's important here is not the achievements themselves, but instead the rewards that they give you. These 3 items have important roles in every medic's journey, and each provide their own unique lesson to the player. Alright, so here you are. You're a new medic with no hats, no weapons, and no soldier daddy boyfriend, just roughing it against the world. For the past while, you've been rocking with the stock syringe gun. The syringe gun is an expertly designed weapon meant to teach you one thing: don't use the stock syringe gun. It fires an unsatisfying stream of arcing projectiles that are purposely designed to occasionally save you when backpedaling from an enemy, while being worthless in every other situation. Luckily, Medic has the Medigun, which is the weapon you should be using 99% of the time. Without any unlocks, Medic's arsenal is already teaching you important lessons about playing the class. Other games will often give Medic-type characters other weapons or abilities to use when they're done healing. TF2 makes it very clear that there is no "when you're done healing" in this game. The game guides you toward the Medigun even when your teammates are healthy. This is so you engage with the other aspects of playing Medic, like overhealing and building Uber. This teaches you that these aspects of playing the class should be considered just as important as healing, as these actions are tied to the Medigun, which is the main conduit you have to interact with the game. Your syringe gun exists as an alright self-defense tool whose design makes it clear when it should and should not be used. Medic's lacking self-defense was very obviously designed to be the counterweight that balances his game-winning supportive potential. This begs the question: if Valve wanted to make Medic weak, why didn't they just give him something like a pistol or SMG? I think the reason why Valve went with an option like the syringe gun was because its added layer of nuance works to make Medic's self-defense not a flat weakness, but a well-defined limitation that itself encourages players to find solutions to. Medic's stock arsenal is expertly designed to showcase the intricate strengths and weaknesses of Medic as a class, and how they interact to form his core design. The bone saw is also here. At this point, you've been fumbling around as Medic, with these lessons of his core design slowly worming their way into your mind. After completing some random task, you have achieved Medic Milestone 1, and are rewarded with a replacement for your syringe gun, the Blutsauger. The lesson that this weapon is trying to teach you is obvious. You have been slowly learning the class, but your win rate is at the whim of matchmaking, and whether or not you can get teammates that can protect you. Now, your survivability is in your own hands. Wait, hang on, you still died here, and there too. What's going on here? This is where the law of averages kicks in. Yeah, there's going to be times where the Blutsauger saves your life, but there's also going to be plenty of times where relying on it just gets you killed. Just like how your teammates will often let you down, but a healthy teammate will more often than not get the job done and keep you safe. I'd like to bring attention to one of Medic's achievements. First, do no harm. This achievement is awarded to you after you top score in a match where you get 0 kills. This achievement doesn't market itself as a challenge. It frames itself as a confirmation that you're playing the game correctly. The name First Do No Harm implies that ending the match with 0 kills is what allows you to top score as Medic. The game is telling you that the secret to doing well as Medic is positioning yourself so that you never need to defend yourself. Your survival did not enter your own hands when you obtained the Blutsauger, it was always there. So wait, that's it? The Blutsauger is ingeniously designed because it sucks at its job, therefore causing you to learn good positioning? No. This is still Medic Milestone 1 after all. There is only one achievement tied to the syringe guns, and that is, does it hurt when I do this? Which you get after killing 50 scouts with your syringe gun. This isn't a challenge achievement, or a celebration of progress. This is the game's way of telling you that getting yourself into bad situations repeatedly is part of the Medic learning process. The Blutsauger exists to give new medics leeway and potentially save themselves when they make mistakes. If we look at medics' other unlockables through the eyes of new players, the Overdose's damage penalty actually matters, and is too big a pill to swallow for players with poor defensive positioning. And while the crossbow is clearly medic's best primary, its close range damage is worse than even the Overdose, and its benefit is locked behind learning a new skill. The Blutsauger is expertly designed because it enters your arsenal when you would need it most. The lessons you've been learning thus far have been related to survivability and mitigating the class's downsides. Now, it's time to focus on improving your ability to capitalize on Medic's strengths. Medic Milestone 2 is slowly creeping up on you, and so far you've seen other classes walking around with side grades to their primary weapons that shake up how they perform their class role and provide situational benefits. You finish another medic achievement and rewarded with a Medigun side grade that heals in the exact same way as stock and at the exact same rate. What gives? The only differences between stock and the Kritzkrieg are related to the mechanics of Ubercharge. This is the game's way of telling you a very important lesson about Medic's role in the game, that he is a playmaker first and a healer second. The game has 11 achievements relating to healing and 14 related to using Ubercharges. The game has made sure to let you know that Heavy is an amazing heal target, but a large number of these Uber achievements encourage you to Uber other classes for different situations. Soldier and Pyro are great for crowds, Demo is great for sentriness, and Scout is useful for securing high-value kills. The Kritzkrieg is the game's way of pushing you into the deep end of Ubercharge philosophy. The floor level of Uber strategy is finding a power class and using Uber whenever you see a sentry gun. The fact that critical hits have no effect on buildings is taken advantage of by the game in order to insert the idea into your mind: if this weapon isn't effective in the same scenarios as stock, then where does it shine? As a new player, you would naturally gravitate to using stock in situations where you're going to be pitted against sentries, and Kritzkrieg in situations where sentry guns are a non-issue. Essentially, falling into the Uber on offense, crits on defense camp that a lot of new medics find themselves falling under. Over time, the intricacies of the mediguns will reveal themselves to you. The defensive utility and general reliability of stock will prove itself valuable on defense, and the Kritzkrieg will show promise on offense with its ability to mow down the enemy team and keep up the offensive pressure with its increased build rate. As you improve as medic, you will gradually improve your ability to utilize your Ubers to the fullest. When you combine this with the introduction of unlockable mediguns, you create a class with a theoretically infinite knowledge ceiling. Moving back to the Kritzkrieg, you might notice this line of blue text. The Kritzkrieg is an incredibly powerful yet volatile medigun, and in order to balance it with stock, Valve decided to give it a 25% faster build rate, trading the reliability of stock for an increase to your uptime. Now, this is where this video is going to do a tonal 180, because giving players an achievement item with one of its main selling points being a faster Ubercharge build rate is a great way to communicate to new players that building Uber as fast as possible is something that they should be striving for. A new player would now be more likely to seek out mechanics they could interact with that could positively affect Ubercharge build rate. For those who don't know, at max rate it takes 40 seconds to build a full Ubercharge with the stock medigun, and 32 seconds with the Kritzkrieg. If the person you are healing is above 142% overheal, then your Ubercharge build rate will be cut in half. Your Uber build rate will also be cut in half if your heal target is also being healed by another medic or by another dispenser, and these halving effects can potentially stack with each other. There is absolutely no indication given to you when something is inhibiting your build rate, and the only thing in-game that even hints to the existence of this mechanic is a loading tip that's so poorly worded that it may as well be misinformation. This is frankly unacceptable for a gameplay mechanic as important as this. It's truly a shame that this is how the Kritzkrieg section has to end, because it's a weapon that I love and is in my opinion one of the best designed weapons in the entire game. Let's just hope that this is a one-time thing, and that Medic's final achievement item leaves no room to disappoint. With the Kritzkrieg giving you so many new options, it's easy to forget about the less flashy parts of Medic, like his melee. Don't get me wrong, the Bonesaw is pretty useful, and up to this point you've gotten plenty of mileage out of it. There's even a few achievements dedicated to smacking people about. Medic is ironically one of the best melee fighters in the game, being the fastest class in the game with access to a 65 base damage melee. However, as we established earlier, Medic is a class who should be keeping himself out of fights. Plenty of other classes see it being worth it to trade their stock melee weapons for something that brings them passive utility. So obviously, Medic's final achievement item will be a melee that incentivizes him to get into fights. Why does nothing make sense in this shit-ass game? So, is that it? This is the note we end on? I guess Medic's final unlock is just a silly item that has no place in the optimal Medic playstyle. But at the same time, 25% is a lot. Maybe going for a saw here and there wouldn't hurt. Okay, it does hurt, but that brings us to the final lesson. Medic, as a class, can benefit from taking risks. Of course, it's always best to play in a way that minimizes risk and maximizes reward. But what if it's worth it to overextend with a pocket to make it fat? What if you can risk dropping in order to not force at an inopportune time? What if you take this 1v1 with a scout because you just think you're better? You're used to thinking about your decision making as Medic in terms of a binary between right and wrong, but the Ubersaw suggests that it's actually a spectrum going from bad to great. And this final lesson is what I would consider you to be graduating from Medic 101. Your journey is far from over, and with Medic's limitless potential, it most likely will never be. But now it's a journey that's fully in your hands.